Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to chat. I want to start off and just let you know that I am currently pregnant with our third, and we are naming her Kylie.
Oh,
I thought you would like to hear that. I told my husband, I said, I'm interviewing Kylie, and he's like, wait, she's in your belly. Well, not that Kylie, a different Kylie. Yeah, so we have a little boy who's 7 who watched the movie with me, actually. And then another little girl that is 20 months old. And then this one will be Kylie. Yeah, so we did, like I said, my 7-year-old and I watched the movie, and it was absolutely phenomenal. You did a
Thank
wonderful
you.
job along with the other actors in the film. So it was so much fun to watch, and I'm pretty sure he'll want to see it over and over and over, which is completely fine because it was super fun.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I wanted to start off by asking you a few questions. First off, I was curious as to how you felt you relate to your character in the film.
We're both small, fierce, fun, a little bit mischievous, and fighters. But she's sometimes a bit more braver than me because sometimes I get nervous or scared for things I'm not used to, like right now this interview.
I totally get that. I am small as well. So my husband is a whole foot taller than me. So I totally get he says I'm tiny but mighty. That is a true statement.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. That's awesome. Like I said, you did a phenomenal job. And so I
Thank
would
you.
have never known. I know you were not on screen like you are now, but you're still like, it's your voice. So you did a great job.
Thank you.
Sure. And I'm curious if there is a favorite scene in the movie that you have.
Yes. My favorite scene would be when Hank and Emiko are playing with origami, and Emiko gives a meaningful message to him, which encourages Hank to save the village.
That was definitely an awesome scene. My son really liked that one too. It's like really stuck out to him and me too. So it's always nice to hear your opinion on the favorite scene. Awesome. So it looked like you were born in Hawaii, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you ever go back and visit? Do you have family there?
Yes, I do. But since during COVID, I couldn't really go visit them, and I moved to New York like 3 years ago. So I haven't been to Hawaii for a pretty long time. But I miss my family, friends, and cousins.
That's awesome. We've never been to Hawaii. We've always lived on the East Coast. I'm in Maryland, like I said. It was our dream place to go. So I'll definitely need some tips if we do go visit Hawaii, because I know there's a lot there and I want to make the most of our time if we do
Yeah.
visit. So I'll be hitting you up for some tips. As back to the movie, what really drew you to want to be a part of the movie?
Well, when I auditioned, I loved my I love the character because she's like what you said, tiny but mighty, and I've always like wanted that kind of character before.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure you were probably pretty nervous in the audition, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure I don't ever like any type of an interview or an audition. And so I always try to lighten the mood by kind of like, showing who I am, but like still being a little bit nervous and held back. So I totally, yeah, exactly. But obviously you did a good job in your audition because
Thank
you got
you.
the part, right? That's awesome. Do you have like a funny blooper or anything you can share that happened while you guys were recording or filming?
Oh, yeah, I had to wear a blanket over my head for like a long time. So the directors had to give me a break, and I was like, oh my God. But my mom and dad put the AC on, so it was a bit better.
Well, that's much better because I mean, I
Yeah.
like blankets, but sometimes they get hot, and especially one over your head trying to do that, right?
Yeah.
What was the hardest part of filming for you or recording?
I would say the reaction between the other characters or actors, because we all recorded separately and the animation was also developing simultaneously. I had to use my voiceover acting in my own imagination.
Yeah, I'm sure that has to be really hard. I've never obviously done anything like that, but I know putting that emotion behind it probably is
Yeah.
really challenging, right? And knowing exactly like how they want you to portray that character via your voice, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure that's very challenging, and I give mad props to all of you guys that do that. I can't even do that in normal, like on camera. So I can't even imagine. It has to be harder just trying to read something, right? Awesome. So I guess I'm curious as to how your interaction was with the other characters. I know, like you said, you all recorded separately, but did you ever meet up at any point to do things together or anything like that?
No, but I met George Takei and Kathy Shim at the premiere, and I took a picture with George Takei like this.
That's awesome. I definitely would have done that too, right? You didn't really meet anybody until the premiere.
Yeah, because I even the directors, it was all on Zoom and stuff.
Oh, is that because
So
of COVID?
yeah, it was because of COVID. Yeah.
Well, that's crazy. So it must have been nice to actually put a face to
Yeah,
someone's name. I
I
know
was
like
really
Zoom is
stressed.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if, I mean, I work full time during the day, and so I'm on Zoom a lot. We call it Teams, is what we use. But it's the same thing. Like I don't know like how tall someone is on there, right? And
Yeah.
then you probably meet them. And I met my supervisor for the first time in the office like a few months ago, and he said, "Well, I thought you were taller," and I was like, "I'm not. I'm not." It's just really funny. So I'm sure it was nice to meet them and like,
Yeah.
and actually at the premiere, which is a pretty cool event,
Yeah,
right?
it's so fun.
Was that the first time that you had seen the film from start to finish at the premiere?
No, I watched it one time with my family in New York.
Oh, that's awesome. So do you
Yeah.
have family both in Hawaii and in New York then?
Yeah, my mom, dad, and brother are are here with me.
That's awesome. So I'm glad that you got to see that with them. Yeah. Do you have any plans to have any sort of a viewing party or anything with family and friends in New York when it
Oh yeah.
releases?
Yeah, I FaceTime with my grandma at Hawaii, and she invited like all of my cousins and all my family and friends and stuff, and they all watched she rented the theater and they all watched the movie and they said they loved it.
That's awesome. What a cool experience just to be able to still share that with your family out in Hawaii. I know you said you miss them a lot. I can't imagine, and then, but to be able to share that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite part about being in the film?
Oh, being with like all the legendary actors, because I always look up to them and I watch all of them in movies.
That's awesome. That actually leads into my next question. Do you have a role model or a mentor that you look up to in the acting industry?
Yes, I have a few, quite a few. Definitely Michelle Yeoh, Aquafina, Julie Andrews, and Ali Ewald.
Those are awesome actors for sure. And I mean, have you worked with any of them or you just kind of watch them behind the scenes and say, I want to be like that person?
Yeah, I watch Aquafina, Michelle Yeoh, and Julie Andrews, but I worked with Ali Ewald in a theater production.
Oh, that's awesome. So you've done some theater too as well.
Yeah,
Wow.
I started with theater and then I moved on to TV and movies and stuff.
What do you prefer? Do you have a preference? I guess they're both kind of different, but do you have a preference?
Um, Not really, but in at theater I get to sing and I love singing, so
That's awesome. So you're pretty well rounded. I mean, I can barely
thank
walk
you.
without tripping over my own feet. So I'm pretty impressed for sure. I could never be, I like to sing, but I don't think it's very good. But it's definitely something that I enjoy doing. My husband's dad is a choir teacher, and so I'll never sing in front of him because I'm pretty sure he would critique me. Right. Yeah. I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, that's awesome. So what has been your favorite job that you have done so far? A favorite acting job?
I would say this one because it was like my first animation movie and it'll always be special because of that. But also I did another one called Better Nate Than Ever, and that was also my first feature film too, and that will always be special too.
I'm sure it is because that was your first, like, feature film, like you said, that always hold the near and dear place in your heart, right? So you look forward to doing more animation then, I assume, because you really liked this experience, correct?
Yes, I would love to do animation and live acting, but yeah, both of them were so awesome.
That's great. It must be very challenging to, switch back and forth from like being in the theatrical part of things, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
then going into being like on screen and then being like on not really behind the scenes, but basically behind the scenes doing voice acting. So I'm sure that's very challenging. Is there another character in the film that you feel that you relate to or would like to be more like?
Probably Hank because he gets he gets so determined and like really tries his best for that. But my other favorite character would be Sumo, because he's huge and big, but he has such a sweet and kind heart.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And I feel like I relate to your character a lot in that way. Like we talked about tiny but mighty, and being fearful of situations, yet, I sometimes have a hard time getting that confidence, right? But you're
Yeah.
right, you do look over to those other characters. My husband is extremely outgoing and I'm not. It's a whole different world. I'm like, whoa, 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 we're not going and talking to that person. So it's a whole different world, but it's always good to look into different people. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I appreciate your time today. I enjoyed chatting with you. And like I said, I have a daughter named after you, apparently. So I really enjoyed the movie. My 7-year-old did. I'm sure if I could get my 21-month-old girl to sit down, she would probably enjoy it too. But she's too busy running and climbing and jumping and everything that she should not be doing. So anyways, well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. And you did a fantastic job in the film. And do not be nervous about these press events. You're good.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.